can be very, very erotic. It's one of my favorite types of touch. And then there's water, which is where you use more of the surface of your hand, even your arm. Okay, so this is another type of tantric touch. Earth, where it's kind of more of a massage, where you might be kind of massaging the arms, the legs, the stomach. It's more felt, more deep. Yeah. And fire, which is more passion, could be spanking, could be kind of playing rough a bit, of course, consensually, but this is more fire, kind of getting the passion into the touch. This is kind of foreplay to lovemaking. So this is more skills that have been incorporated into Neo-Tantra, which are not necessarily in the tantric texts, but are very connected to our emotional body, which is something that Neo-Tantra, as Osho really coined, is that our emotional body is so important to us for being able to open up our sexuality, open up our genitals, and really, in order for us to experience some form of enlightenment or Kundalini awakening, we have to be able to process and work through our emotional body. And tantric touch is part of that. Part of us being able to experience our emotions, our body on a deeper level. Now, another part of Neo-Tantra is learning your body, and in particular, learning your genitals and understanding the different types of touch that you can experience there. Part of it is also de-armoring our genitals, because we hold so much trauma in our genital area. And for women, it means becoming deeply connected to our yoni or vagina, and understanding that there is actually a yoni consciousness. What does that mean? That essentially means that our yoni has its own consciousness. And if there's something that's not functioning there, if there is some sort of reoccurring infection or a problem with the nervous system in our pelvic area, that is going to deeply affect a woman mentally. It could lead to depression, to anxiety. It's not like, having your finger broken. It's very, very different. Our yoni has a profound effect on our happiness and our ability to be emotionally healthy and stable. And of course, it's also learning to surrender and creating healthy boundaries in our lives. And this is, of course, connected to our emotions, creating healthy boundaries with our partners. And of course, learning to activate our heart centers, which is something that is very difficult for a lot of people because we've been so emotionally repressed. For men, it's learning to control ejaculation so that precious life energy isn't constantly lost. Now, this is something that a lot of men, unfortunately, don't really understand, in that they actually have the ability to separate between ejaculation and orgasm. And for men, this is a very, very important practice for them to learn how to do, to learn how to really control their ejaculation so that they don't lose constantly this precious life force energy. So when men start to learn to do this, they have so much more energy. They don't feel so depleted after sex. So doing this inner work is very important for men. And also, if they want to be truly intimate with women, it's very important for them to learn to prolong their ejaculation, meaning they need to learn how to put off their ejaculation for much, much longer. Because for women to feel or to reach orgasm and to feel this deep love heart connection with their male partner, they need to be penetrated for much longer than what most modern men can actually hold out for. So it's important that they learn to really control this energy. yeah, if they're constantly ejaculating immediately, men, um, what it usually means is that they have emotions that are stuck in their body. And these emotions that are stuck can lead to kind of an overexcitement and then to premature ejaculation. Now, another thing that's very important is learning compassionate communication skills and practicing them with your partner. This I cannot express enough because our sexuality is directly connected to our communication and vice versa. So if there's an issue with sexuality in the relationship, there's going to be an issue with communication also. And if there is an issue with communication, there's going to be a sexuality issue. And this is also, of course, has a lot to do with our ability to process and understand and communicate our emotions. So it's learning how to do that in a healthy way with your partner. And part of that means taking full responsibility for your emotions and not blaming your partner for whatever it is that you're feeling. And this is a skill. This is a skill that we're not really taught to do, unfortunately. It of course has a lot to do with our emotional intelligence. Some people do this more naturally, but it really is a skill that you can develop. So when you're feeling upset about something in the relationship, something that happened, it's not about, what would not be helpful is running to your partner and saying, hey, you did this, you did that, you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that. So that will send your partner into a defense mechanism. And then you'll probably just kind of spiral down into a argument, and it won't really lead to any sort of progression, any sort of evolution in the relationship. So it's really learning to take responsibility for our emotions and learning to listen to our partners and learning to communicate in a way that our partner can actually hear what we're trying to say. And this is part of doing shadow work. So shadow work is exploring areas of ourselves that aren't in alignment and working towards clearing them out. So that means being aware of your negative emotions, being aware of how your childhood has affected your current state, your thought patterns, and not allowing these emotions to run the show. So it doesn't mean repressing them. It just means creating an awareness and learning how to release our emotions in a way that's not hurtful to the people around us. Yeah. So it's admitting to these emotions and helping them work their way out of our body. So this is really doing some deep, deep shadow work. And our sexuality is a place for deep work. Like I said, it's a place that's often affected by our childhood and our environment growing up. And for most people, this environment created a tremendous amount of shaming, guilt, perhaps religious beliefs regarding sexuality. And a lot of these beliefs really prevent us from creating deep, intimate relationships with our partners, but first and foremost, actually with ourselves, is learning how to be intimate with ourselves, is learning how to love ourselves and not be ashamed of our sexual energy. So there's so much fear that inhibits our ability to be intimate, that inhibits our ability to love our sexual energy and to revere it actually as something that is so powerful and really shapes our lives in so many ways, shapes how we connect to our children, shapes how we choose our profession, shapes how we show up in the world in general, and of course our relationships. So understanding our sexual energy and moving past shame and guilt is a very important part of this work. And also, of course, learning how to control our sexual energy, which is a whole nother topic in and of itself. But learning how to control our sexual energy is also important, because if you're all over the place and spreading out that sexual energy, in every direction that you turn, that's also not healthy. Not healthy for yourself and not healthy for the people in your surroundings. You have to know how to channel that energy and know how to contain it in a way that is healthy. So this is just a little bit about Neo-Tantra and how it's being used today in the tantric teachings. But really, it's understanding sacred sexuality as an energetic and spiritual encounter. And that is all for today. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us on Divine Couples. If you would like more information about us, you can feel free to check us out at www.divine-couples.com. And you can check out our social media page on Instagram at divine.couples, adding intimacy, passion, and healing to your lives. Thank you for joining us on Divine Couples. I am your host, Naomi Slater.
Join us next time to continue your journey in exploring the depths of your life force energy. Until then, this has been your host, Naomi Slater. If you have any more questions on this subject, feel free to reach out. Follow her on Instagram at divine.couples. And to see all of her offerings, visit her website at theworldwideweb.divine-couples.com.